Okay, welcome to Writing a Learning Story. Hopefully this will help you with your thinking about how to put a learning story together when working with either an individual or a group of children. Writing narratively is more than providing a description of what you saw. Writing learning stories requires that the author writes a story with some characters and has a conclusion to inform ongoing discussion, planning, and teaching. One of the important things with getting a learning story going is to start with the context or the setting. Where is all this action going on? It's important because it gives the reader of the story, whether it's a parent now or someone reading the story to the child, or for the future point, to provide the context of where is the action and what resources are involved. What have you noticed leading up to this point? This is about providing that essential background information that's related to the story that up until this point may not have been documented. For some children, you'll notice something today and you'll think, that links back to what I saw last week and last month and for the last 3 months. And you finally think, this has culminated in this. And so a story will be written. So if there are some incidents that have been leading up to this that are undocumented, or even if they are documented, make that link and make sure you include it as part of the story to show that this isn't a one-off thing. This is something that's been going on for a little while. Naming who's involved is really important. In the past, with observations in early childhood services, sometimes it's been thought inappropriate to include a child's name, especially if the story is not about them, that they're part of the story, but it's going into another child's portfolio. Name them. Parents want to read who their child is learning with. Now you launch into what's going on. This is where you start to think about describing the learning and the activity you see going on. And I say here learning and activity. It is important to describe what the activity is, if it's painting or if it's sand play. But what I want to emphasize here is it's also, or if not more important, to look beyond the activity and start to explore what is the learning. As part of the story, also identify what is the teaching. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's resources, and sometimes it's a space. And this is linking back to people, places, and things, which is a description of curriculum for early childhood services based in Te Whāriki. So what did you do as the adults involved in supporting learning? Did you set up the environment particularly to invite this kind of learning? What did you do? And part of the story too is to identify how's it all working out and what was everyone's contribution. Learning doesn't happen in a vacuum, and an individual relies on others, other people, resources and things to add value to their learning. So what were the things that made a difference for the learning? What were some of the comments that the children made? While you're observing children and taking photographs, equally as important is to record somehow some of the comments that children make about their learning, recording some of the questions that they're asking. The questions children ask are the goals they're setting for themselves. As part of the observation too, and as of a learning story, is to identify what learning and involvement you were particularly impressed about. Were you impressed about the relationships they were forming? Did one of them demonstrate leadership that you were impressed with? Was there some amazing problem solving? Was there frustration and we didn't give up, we persisted? Did we take responsibility and help someone else with their thinking? State them in your own words. Lean on Te Whāriki because that's helpful. But rather than copy words directly from the curriculum document, use Te Whāriki to inspire your thinking and reframe them in words and using language that matters. And in conclusion, for a learning story, is to suggest 1 or 2 things that might further support the learning. This might be including What additional books, resources, access to the internet might you provide? What sort of spaces might you make available for children in their learning? Might be useful here to talk with your colleagues, to the children, to their families, whānau, to just find out what they think, having reflected on the story you've written and what they know about the child and that group, to make some decisions about planning for ongoing support for learning. Good luck and have some fun writing up those learning stories.